Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into what is, let's be honest, one of the most nerve-wracking but absolutely critical moments in any debates or Model UN conference, the opening speech. You only get one shot to make a first impression, right? So how do you make sure it's a powerful one? Let's break down how you can master that first minute and totally command the room. I mean, really think about it. You've got just 1 minute, 60 seconds. That's all the time you have to make your mark, establish your presence, and really set the tone for the entire debate. The pressure is definitely on. So how in the world do you pull that off? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out together. So let's get things off with why this moment is such a huge deal. You might think, oh, it's just me reading a statement I wrote, but it is so much more than that. This is your grand entrance, you know? It's the moment everyone in that room decides if you're a delegate they need to pay attention to. Exactly. That one single minute is how everyone, your future allies, your rivals, the chair, is going to size you up. It's your chance to broadcast to the entire room that you came prepared, you're confident, and you are ready to lead this conversation. Okay, so we've established it's a big deal, but what are you actually supposed to do in that 1 minute? A powerful speech isn't just about sounding smart, it's really a strategic mission. It has very specific goals. So let's define what those are. And it turns out it really just boils down to three main objectives you have to accomplish. First, you've got to clearly state your country's position. No waffling, no ambiguity. Second, you have to frame the debate. You do this by highlighting the specific sub-issues you want everyone to focus on. And third, you show that you're not just there to talk about problems, you're there to actually find solutions. You nail these three things and you've got a killer opening. Alright, so that's the what and the why covered. Now, let's get into the part you've been waiting for. The how. We're going to walk through a super simple 5-step blueprint that's going to help you build a perfect 1-minute speech every single time. It's a really logical flow, right? You start with a greeting, you state your position, you highlight the key issues, suggest some solutions, and you finish all off with a strong closing line. It's so easy to follow. And to make this crystal clear, we're going to build an example speech together, step by step. We'll pretend we're the delegation of Japan talking about climate change. First things first, that first impression starts the second you open your mouth. The greeting isn't just you being polite, it's your very first chance to show you respect the room and to set a really diplomatic tone. See how formal and respectful that is? It immediately shows that you get how things work here and that you take your role seriously. It might seem like a small thing, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in how you're perceived right from the start. Okay, formalities are done. Now you get right to the point. This is where you state your core policy. The goal here is to be clear, direct, and just really concise. No fluff. Look at the clarity there. In just one sentence, there is absolutely zero doubt where Japan stands on this issue. This immediately positions you as a delegate who has a clear, confident agenda. Okay, now this is where you get really strategic. This is your chance to take control of the narrative. You're not just reacting to the topic, you are literally telling the committee what specific parts of it they should be focusing on. You're basically setting the rules of the game. Now that is a brilliant strategic move. By naming these three specific areas, Japan is basically setting the agenda. It signals to other delegates, hey, this is what a potential solution could look like, and it starts pointing toward Japan's priorities. You know, a great speech doesn't just point out problems, it actually offers a way forward. This next step is so crucial because it shows you're a constructive, solution-oriented delegate, and that's the kind of person everyone wants to work with. That right there is a direct call to action. It transforms the speech from just a statement into a genuine invitation to collaboration. This is exactly how you start building those alliances from your very first minute on the floor. And finally, you have to stick the landing. You need to end your speech cleanly and with confidence. Your closing line should be polite but firm, and it should reinforce your commitment to having a really productive debate. Simple, professional, and super effective. It wraps everything up on a positive, forward-looking note, and that leaves a lasting impression of a delegate who is ready to get down to business. A perfect landing. Alright, so you've got this perfectly written speech on paper. That is awesome. But that's only half the battle. A brilliant script that's delivered poorly is just going to fall flat. How you deliver that speech is what makes it truly memorable and impactful. So let's talk performance. These 5 keys are pretty much non-negotiable. Confidence, that comes from being prepared. So rehearse your speech until you barely need your notes. Clarity means using simple, powerful words, not a bunch of confusing jargon. Be diplomatic, always respectful. Be concise. Practice with a timeout until you can nail that 60-second mark. And above all, be prepared. Stand tall, make eye contact, and just own that room. And really, this is what it all comes down to. Your opening speech is way more than just a speech. It's your audition for a leadership role in that committee. It's where you show everyone not just that you know your stuff, but you have a vision and you can guide others toward it. So when you stand up to speak, remember, you're not just representing a country, you're presenting yourself. Are you going to be a follower, or are you going to be a leader? With the blueprint we just walked through, you've now got all the tools you need to make sure your first minute sends a clear, powerful message.